Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, your old pal Orpheus, on another edition of Orpheus Plays, here playing Blade and Sorcery. Hey, birds. I keep doing that. Hello. We're here in the arena today, playing survival mode, which means, again, 3 pillars pop up in between rounds, 3 random items, normally weapons, but sometimes things like healing potions. And I take my choice of one of these and beat the ever-loving snot out of whoever comes out of these doors. And it ramps up in difficulty. Anyway, you know what this is. I hope you are doing awesome wherever you are right now, whether it's day or night, whether you're sitting there in, I don't know, the back of a trash compactor, waiting for the trash compactor to compact everything, and you're waiting for James Bond to break you out before... Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, we're having another good day to go out here and beat some butt and bring you along for the ride. Here we go. Let's start things off. 3, 2, 1. Fight! Okay. Who's our first victim? Come here. Do.
We're gonna have to do an old-fashioned slow motion one today, because I'm not feeling very limber.
Alright, I'm kidding. I'm feeling great. Old man Orpheus comes out again. Whee! So yeah, another great day for murder here in the arena as I talk like we're going at a horse race. We got big ol' horse balls on the outside, big ol' horse balls coming up by us. Anyway. Never know what you're going to get here with crazy Orpheus. But, yeah, I think as I give her some horrible pain to deal with, I think we might start making the arena more of the Tales of Pain place. Because I've got a story today. Ooh. Let's hold in there for just a second. Oh. Drama queen of the day! Oh God, I'm just... More screen time, please. Anyway, this is kind of the place where I've told some stories of pain. Like my foot trauma episode, if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, it's called How Not to Do First Aid. It is a couple of stories of the times that I've done some very dumb things in relation to injuries that I've sustained. But in this one, I want to talk about something that has happened to lots of people and will continue to happen to a lot of people, and I hope to all the things that are holy that you never have to deal with this, and it is kidney stones. I have been unlucky enough in my life to have at least 2 kidney stones, and I say at least because those were the 2 that I... Ooh, got you on the backside there. Anyway, I've been unfortunate enough to have 2 separate events where kidney stones have pretty much wrecked me. And so we'll go into those real quick. Now, the first one was about 6 or 7 years ago. I was in a place in my life where I was drinking like 3 Monster energy drinks a day. And I was eating a lot of chocolate and I was on a diet that was like a really heavy Mediterranean diet. And sometimes what that can do is there are certain chemicals in the Mediterranean diet and other things. So like in beets and in stuff like almonds and things like that. And chocolate, and especially when you drink those energy drinks and all the stuff that's in them. So I was doing all that, not very smart, because that puts a little extra strain on the old kidneys. And so just kind of going through life, and one day I started to get a little bit of back pain. But it wasn't like the back pain that I normally have. You know, I have a twisted, beat-up spine and spinal compression and all that stuff, scoliosis. And so I'm used to back pain. This was not like the normal back pain. It was like it started to feel like a little bit of a burning back pain that radiated out. It like just was like pulsing out from that spot. And I kind of ignored it. You know, I had to put a little bit of like a heating pad on there and some ice. Didn't really do anything. I'm like, wow, not feeling all that good. This is starting to get a little bit more, like the pain is getting a little bit more alarming to me. Yeah, like that. And so, oh, you are lucky, sir. Death. So the pain is ramping up a little bit as we go along here, and I start feeling kind of weak, and then I start noticing there's like this like cycle, like these waves that'll come on, where the pain, like, it starts to ramp up, and then it'll go down and go away, and then it'll ramp up, and then it'll go away. And I start just feeling this, and every time that it happens, it's getting a little worse and a little worse. And it's this pain that is like, this first one was on my right side, and it feels like a combination of pressure and, like, if you've ever been, like, had a penetrating wound of any type, like I've had a bullet fragment in my leg. Another one that I coincidentally told right here in the arena. So yeah, I am kind of making the arena these tales of pain map. But I took a bullet fragment, and the one thing that I noticed was that you could feel that fragment in there, right? And it's the most unusual thing because you feel this foreign object inside your body. And there's this panic because you know it's there, your body knows it's there, and your body's starting to react to it. And because of that, you're having an emotional and physiological reaction to it as well. Well, when the kidney stone started to ramp up in pain, you start to feel it. So, like, there's no problem when the kidney stone is moving, right? And those are the periods of time where you don't have the pain, right? The pain ramps down, it goes down because the kidney stone starts to move. Well, when it gets stuck, that's when the pain happens because pressure builds up behind it, and it starts to put pressure on the kidney, which puts pressure on your entire renal system, and your blood pressure starts to go up, and you start getting weaker and weaker, and the pain starts intensifying. I've been through a lot of pain in my life. I took an axe to the foot, to the ankle one time. I took, like I said, a bullet fragment. I've been stabbed by knives. I was stabbed once. Well, I was stabbed twice at the same time, within the same period of time by an ex-girlfriend. That's another story coming. Oh my God, I was lucky to get out of that one alive. She stabbed me with a pencil. I still have little tattoos, like 2 little dot tattoos where she stabbed me. Like, I assume that the lead from the pencil is underneath it, but it's too small to feel. Anyway, so the point is, I've been through some pain in my life, and I've broken bones, and I've dislocated things, and I've crushed things, and I have never felt anything even close to what this kidney stone felt like. It felt like burning, ripping, tearing. It felt like things were being just torn out of me. I could feel it. So as the pain got worse and worse, my wife started coming into the room more often because I couldn't not make noises. It was to the point where I was like almost screaming each time that it would happen, when that pain would ramp up and it would get stuck. And it was going on and on and on. And I remember that it was so terrible. I was clawing at the bed. I was screaming so loud that I was putting pillows over my face and stuff to stop it so the neighbors didn't think that there was a murder going on. And it got to the point where the pain was almost transcendental. The pain was almost transcendental. It was like, it made me disconnect from reality. And your body will do this. If you get under such duress that you're overwhelmed, your pain sensors are overwhelmed to the point where you can't take it anymore, your body and your brain will kind of shut down. and they'll disconnect and you'll pass out. And that's what happened. I remember, the only thing I remember about when this happened was it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. I was screaming, and then all of a sudden I just stopped. And I remember looking up at the ceiling, and there was this one spot of paint that had a little bit of a defect in it. And I remember staring at that, and then all of a sudden my vision just kind of blacked out around the sides. And my wife tells me that I said, I don't feel any pain anymore. And then I passed out. And so after I woke up from that one, because wow, that was scary. When I woke up from that one, my wife took me to the hospital, and we did an ultrasound, and discovered after I got there and they shot me up with morphine. Oh God, thank God for that, because like you don't think that stuff will work. You know, you think like, oh, it's just in the movies, or they give them a shot of morphine and like they have a bullet wound in like Vietnam or something, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm good now. Nice shot there, bro. But so you see it all the time, that like the shot of morphine. Yeah, no, trust me, that works. So we got an ultrasound done and found out that there was this kidney stone. It was about the size of a grain of rice, which doesn't sound very big until you realize that in terms of kidney stones, that's frighteningly big, like life-threateningly big. Okay, and so we found out that this was there. I'm not going to go into some of the gross details, but when they wanted a urine sample, I've never put colors out like that before. Again, I won't go into the details, but I will not. I never saw that kind of anyway. So I'm sitting there in the examination room, and the doctors are trying to figure out what's going on, and they wanted to send me via an ambulance to a like large. What is going on here? To a larger city that had they had a special department to handle kidney stones. And they said, well, what they'll probably do is they will put in what's known as a stent, which is a piece of wire mesh that they put into, sometimes they put it into an artery near your heart if you have a heart attack or something, to keep the blood clots from getting through, or like from blocking things up. Well, when you put a stent in for kidney stone, it opens things up so it doesn't get stuck, so it can come out. Because they said, well, you know, we don't necessarily want to take it out of you surgically. And I said, so wait a minute, you're going to put me on an ambulance on a like 3-hour drive to a big city so that they can put in something that'll just help it come out later? No, that's not happening, because taking that ambulance ride would have legitimately cost me probably about $10,000 or something just by itself, right? It's not an Uber. You're renting an entire medical team for like at least 3 hours, right? So that's a little costly. And I said, can't we just do something here, right? Don't you have a urologist here in town? That seems a little unbelievable that there isn't one. And they said, yeah, we have 2 in town. One is out to dinner with his family. It's a family reunion, so he's not going to be able to come by. And the other one is he's out on his boat fishing and doesn't want to come back just for taking out a kidney stone. And this was like, excuse me? Yeah, no, he's out on his boat, and he says he can't come back. You are ticking me off, lady. Says he can't come back for several hours at least, and he just suggests that you go home and here's what you can do. You can get in the bathtub and you get down on all fours and you just kind of wait. That's not going to do anything. But so the initial pain went away because they flushed me with so many IV bags, just bag after bag. Ooh, I have my lamppost of doom. And they just kept flushing me with saline. And so I went home that day. That day was very unpleasant for the rest of the day. It kept hurting on and off and hurting on and off. Wow. I'm very uninspired by this selection. Let's do a little bit of cheap shot with the old lightning staff. Yes. So, go home and I wait, and they just have me like, drink a half a gallon of water at least every day. It's like, okay. So I'm doing that. It took about 3 or 4 days for that thing to finally make its way. Ooh, gross. For that thing to finally make its way down. And when it started to pass, first of all, you can feel it pop into your bladder. Ooh, that was rough. Because it's just like you feel pressure, and then, right, you just, oh God. It's a little bit of relief at the same time. It's horrible pain. By the way, when I was in the hospital, my wife says that I was gray. Like my color of my face and everything was completely gray. Because I was going through shock. Like, I could have legitimately died just from the pain and stuff. But anyway, so I felt that thing pop. And then I was like, well, I got to go to the bathroom. And I went to the bathroom. And this always tends to happen when you have a kidney stone, from what I've heard, right? You go to the bathroom, and you're just about finished, and then the last thing that happens is you'll get the kidney stone. Just goes pop, right? And it's just kind of right there. This thing was, again, the size of a grain of rice. And it was made out of what looked like salt crystals. And, wow, 3 for... Yeah, I got a hat trick there. Plus a hand trick. And so it was huge. It was covered with these square crystals, right? And suddenly it was just right there. And I'm like, oh my God, that thing is ginormous. But immediately, like within seconds, it was like, oh, like, oh God, that was that. Oh wow. And like from there, you just kind of recover, because it mentally, you get a little bit of, I legit had PTSD from that. It scared me so bad because that could just pop up at random. And 2 years later, it did. Same sort of thing. This time it was on my left side, and I wasn't feeling that great. I kind of have a little bit of an upset stomach, and I was feeling kind of weak, and that back pain was starting to crop up, and I start to kind of freak out because I remembered what it felt like the last time. And so I start feeling that come on, and I'm like, oh, you have been disarmed, sir. Hey. And so I feel that pain coming on. And this time I was like, I'm going to be ready for this, right? Because the one that I had that was the size of the grain of rice was apparently kind of rare, right? Getting them that size, most people will get a kidney stone that's, the size of a grain of sand or something. So like, you ever go take a leak, right? And you kind of feel what might be construed as a little bit of like a gravelly feeling, right? It's hard to describe how it feels, but it's kind of like a little gravelly, right? That's probably a little kidney stone your body is getting rid of. And so normally they're like that. But I had kind of, I had assumed like there we go, boom, headshot. If I had got another kidney stone, I'm like, it's probably not going to be as close to bad. Because I asked the doctor the first time, I said, so if I get another one of these, this is going to be just as much hell. They're like, no, this was a really unusual one, right? Because I decided I am not going to go get stents put in. I'm just going to go, roll with it. And they said, that was kind of life-threatening, not the best idea. Pin you to the wall. And so what I asked him was like, is the next one, if I have one, going to be as bad? No. That's probably not going to happen. So I'm like, okay, well, this one just feels like it's a little serious, but not too bad. So I go and lay down, and those waves start to come. Those waves of pain and relief and pain and relief. And suddenly, I have no control over what's going on. I don't know what noises I made because I was so preoccupied with the pain that I couldn't think. I couldn't tell what I was saying. My wife tells me that I was just kind of a combination of screaming and babbling the whole time. And this one was bad enough. I passed out several times from the pain, and we had to call 911 because it was so bad. The relief periods were like 45 seconds long, and then it was like 5 minutes of just like the most horrible pain you can imagine. And so I said, you got to call 911. You have to. We can't drive to the hospital with me like this. And so we call 911, and we have kind of a smaller bedroom, right? And if you listen to my episode about prepping, whoa, oh God, oh no, oh, he's doing some amazing breakdancing. He's talented. Let's put him on. So you think he can dance? So we have kind of this smaller bedroom, at least with room for people to be in there, because it's a bedroom for two people. It's not like our family room or living room or something, right? So my wife calls 911, and I'm there, and I hear outside, the and okay, so I figure, well, the ambulance is here. That's good. And then what was it? It was like 5 EMTs and like 2 firefighters came into the bedroom. And so they're like looking over me and asking me questions like, ooh, like, do you know where you are? Do you know what your name is? And I was just kind of half incoherent, like answering some questions and not answering other ones because I didn't know where I was. Oh, coincidentally, there it is. Sirens. Yeah. Woo! We live on a major street here, folks. Things happen. And because this is Orpheus Plays, I refuse to edit it out. Hey, future Orpheus in the editing room, ignore what just happened. So there's a bunch of EMTs and firefighters in the room, and they're asking me questions, and I'm just kind of like, bah, 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 bah. Like, the pain, honestly, if I thought the first kidney stone was bad, I would have taken that first pain over this one in a heartbeat. Man. Anyway, so the EMTs are there, and they're like, okay, well, you seem stable for now. And I hear one of them talking to my wife, and he's saying, yeah, we're going to have to keep him from going into shock because he's really stressed out. And again, I was told that I was completely gray. Like, there was no color in my face whatsoever. And so they put me in onto a stretcher. And again, it's a tiny little bedroom, so they're like trying to get this stretcher in alongside the bed, and there's like no room. And they lift me up and put me on this thing. And then I get wheeled outside. And they make these things so that, boy, must be a 4-alarm fire. Yep, there's another one. Something strange is afoot somewhere in my town. Anyway, so they put me on the stretcher. They take me out my front door, and I look, and there's like 2 ambulances and one of those giant fire trucks. Not the regular fire trucks, that look kind of like an ambulance. Not the fire chief with their pickup truck or their SUV. No, the giant fire truck that they bring to burning buildings and stuff. And they're all sitting right in front of my house, blocking most of the traffic. Sirens all go, not sirens, but the lights are all going and stuff. And people are starting to come out of their houses because they're going, what the hell's going on? And so I get wheeled out. And it's basically like what you see in the movies. You get up to the back of it, they flick a little thing, and the wheels pop up underneath it, and you get slid into the back of the ambulance. I only have one real impression of what the ambulance was like. Because, I'd never been actually in an ambulance before like that. I'd ridden in one with part of a junior explorer program for medicine back when I was younger, like high school. But never like as the patient, right? So all I remember, it was very bright and very loud. And all I heard was the equipment going off, because they set you up with the heart monitor, the respiration monitor, and they had an oxygen mask on me. And so I was in horrible pain still. I'm like still just on the verge of screaming, and I was kind of making some noises. And one of the EMT goes, do you want something for the pain? And I'm like, yes, right? Of course I do, man. He says, so we're going to shoot you up with some fentanyl here real quick, or fentanyl, whatever they call it. And immediately, all there was that went through my head was all these horror stories that have been in the news about that stuff. Like that, you know, one tiny grain of it can kill, like, 20 horses or whatever the hell they say. And so that was what went through my mind first. Like, isn't that dangerous? But then that got replaced by, I don't care. Give me something. Give me drugs. Give me drugs. And they said, because we don't give morphine out in the field really anymore. At least they didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's a local thing. But he's, we don't give morphine out in the field. So he's like, yeah, let's shoot you up with a fentanyl. And I was in the middle of one of those like cycles of pain. Oh wow, like this. Wow, that's interesting. But I was in the middle of one of those cycles, and the guy injects me, and honestly, within like 20 seconds, it went from like to like like, and I kept my eyes shut the whole time because it felt really good, especially compared to what I've been going through for the last like hour and a half of just the unbearable pain. And suddenly it just got shut off, and it's just Well, I went to the hospital again, had another ultrasound done, and I think this time, yeah, they also did an MRI this time, because I remember they injected the contrast dye, and I just threw up all over the place. Sometimes that can happen. When they flush you with that contrast dye, you feel it enter your veins, and it's like this weird warmish feeling that just kind of washes over from one side of your body to the other. But it has this side effect that it occasionally can just completely, you have no control over it. He's like, okay, and you might feel a little nauseous now, and I'm like, okay. It was pretty bad. So we find out that I have this kidney stone that's like half the size of the other one that I had. And so they're like, well, I mean, this isn't big enough really to do so. They really want me to get these claymores again, or these war swords. Okay, whatever. So they said, this one isn't as big as the last one, but it's still probably pretty dangerous. They said, we can, we'll send you home with an antibiotic and a painkiller that's specifically for kidney stones. I said, I guess that'll work. Well, it took another week for this thing to finally pass. Oh man, disarmed. And I remember I was, this was the one that I was in the bathtub for, because it wouldn't. I could feel it, and this one felt like it was tearing its way out. Like it felt like there was a cheese grater in there. And it finally popped out, and it was an agonizing experience to get that thing out of there. But it finally did, and I look at it, and it's half the size of the grain of rice. But it is covered. The entire thing is made up of these, it looked like razor blades on different edges. It was a little darker than that. It wasn't steel, obviously. But it was just sharp knife blades basically all over it at different angles and everything. And it looked like a horror show. Because you got to realize, kidney stones are when your body takes excess minerals from your body, from your bloodstream and your diet and everything, and they collect in your kidneys. And so over time, you start to create literal stones inside your body. And man, your body does not like when that happens, right? And so getting them out of there, hoo-wee. So I've been fortunate since then. I've completely changed my diet, right? And my blood test results around that time, there's something called a creatine level. Yes, that kind of creatine that workout guys use. The guys that take that stuff maybe don't understand that they are at a much higher risk for kidney stones than your average person. But yeah, I've completely changed things. I have been so scared to get another kidney stone over the years. But Thankfully, I have not. So, yeah, that's something I hope that you never have to go through. The message here is, if you go through something that's any kind of pain that you don't understand, right? Pain is your body's way of telling you that something ain't right. Okay? And so, when you feel pain that becomes overwhelming or difficult, no matter what it is, man, whether you hurt yourself bad or it's emotional or mental, strain or trauma, get help, man. You have a much greater chance of coming through on the other side better off if you have medical care. And again, my foot trauma episode is a wonderfully dumb example of what not to do in case of some sort of medical trauma. I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm thankful every day that I am alive so that I can keep doing these videos for you. Here on Orpheus Plays, it's been another edition of Blade and Sorcery with your master swordsman and old pal Orpheus. We will see you on the next one, and until then, hope you have an awesome day. And got me in your balls. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye! Ha!